Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening everyone. Okay, yang diganti Puan Rosida binti Ahmad Junid, Senior Lecturer from the Academy of Language Studies, Universiti Teknologi Mara UITM, Perak. Ladies and gentlemen. Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's collaborative teaching webinar series. My name is Nurdiana and I'll be your moderator for today. Okay, we are ecstatic to have all of you today joining us for our webinar on creating a dynamic presentation organized by the General Studies Department, Polytechnic Ungku Omar, in collaboration with the Academy of Language Studies, Universiti Teknologi Mara, UITM, Perak. Okay, so for today's webinar, it is organized to strengthen our understanding on oral presentation skills and how to make the presentation effective, impactful, and engaging for the audience. So if you have ever felt uninspired, by your PowerPoint presentations or are looking for a way to deliver the content more effectively, it is hoped as well that this webinar will help you gain the skills to deliver a good oral presentation. On top of that, this is also an alternative to prepare the students for the final assessment for this semester, which is the oral presentation assessment. Okay, just to flip through our guest speaker's background, Puan Hajah Rosida binti Ahmad Junid is a senior lecturer in the Academy of Language Studies, Universiti Teknologi Mara, UITM Perak. She has 31 years of experience in academic and administrative settings. She is a dedicated, enthusiastic, and a vivacious lecturer and believes in decision making that prioritizes the needs of the students as to develop positive relationships between all parties. She is also a dynamic researcher with multiple grants and publications. Thank you, Puan Haja. It's an honor for us to have an experienced speaker today. Thank you for your time. Okay, so yeah, all right. And another thing, okay, just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the comment section. Okay, we will bring them up during the Q&A session at the end. All right. And another thing is, students, please be alert, okay, with the questions that will be asked as well by Madam Rosida during the session, because we have prizes to be won, yeah? Okay, so listen attentively. All right, so without further ado, we welcome Puan Haja Rosida for the session. Okay, Haja?
Okay, thank you, Madam Diana. Okay, Assalamualaikum and good evening, everybody. How are you, ladies and gentlemen? How are you guys tonight? Okay?
We are good.
Good.
Madam. Very, very good.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Happy go
That's
lucky.
great to hear. Okay, do you mind turn on the camera so that I can see how you guys look like? It's like talking to profiles, you know. I'd be happy to see faces here. Can you turn on your camera? At least I can have a few of you on the screen now. Yes, Muhammad. Thank you. Muhammad. This is Muhammad. Farid. Yes. I know these are the genius from automotive and engineering, right? So I will call you the genius one now today, right? Because you guys are the future engineers and automotive experts. Okay, Amir Michi. Come on, guys, ladies. Ziang Mong, I cannot see your face. I'm sorry if I pronounced the name wrongly or anything like that. Yeah, thank you. Okay, lagi? Izul? Okay, can we have...
Everyone, please turn on your camera. Everyone.
We want to take pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, let's take
photo.
pictures.
Yeah. I want to show it to my UITM management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Adam,
Yeah,
Hari.
this is collaborative teaching. So Miss Diana, Madam Diana will go to UITM and she will teach the UITM students after this. So we are like, yeah, we come to you, she comes to us. You see? So it's very nice to see everybody so that we can take some pictures now. Shall we? Okay, maybe Diana can. Okay, lagi? Syahmi? All right, as many that can turn on the camera. Yeah. I can only have a few only. Diana, can you have a lot? I can only have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Hold on. Let me change the. How many can you get, Diana? Ah. Okay, let's see how many can I get. Can you get as many? Okay, can we? Madam is counting. Okay lah, we can have a lot there. All right. Okay, Diana, can we? You want to take a picture now, photo now, Diana? Shall we? Okay, ready, guys? Madam? One, two, three. Okay, one more. Okay, then Nana, okay, Nana. Turn on your mic.
Oh, sorry. I
Uh,
my mic. Okay, so done.
done.
That-
Okay, good. Okay,
What?
thank you, madam. Nah, Farah says smile. Okay, another person that's joining us tonight is my friend, Miss
Okay.
Farah Hidato is also here.
Alright.
She
Okay,
had
Miss
the
Farah. Miss Farah, it's
yeah,
nice to have you tonight.
she's joining us tonight. We had her in the other class, in the other two groups with Madam Fairuz. So
Yeah.
tonight, Miss Farah is here to join us. Okay, thank you, Miss Farah.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Farah. Thank you for your time.
Sure, no problem. My pleasure.
Oh, but then just to inform you, Miss Farah was one of the lecturers in PUO once upon a time. Yeah,
Yeah.
she joined UITM. She was with PUO, so she's an OTAI there as well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this great opportunity. I'm very happy. I'm very honored to be able to come over and having to got a chance to meet the students from PUO, engineering students as well as automotive students. Okay, thank you so much for this great opportunity, and thank you so much, Miss Nana, Miss Diana, for the moderation, for the management. You know, we come to them to PUO first, so all the arrangement is done by the lecturers in PUO. Thank you so much. Okay, before I forget, let me wish you good luck for your presentation. I heard that soon you're going to have your final assessment, which is going to be 30%. 30, how many is the marks, Nana? Madam?
Yeah, 30%.
30%. Okay.
Yeah.
That's 30% from the total, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
And we also, and in UITM, we also have a final assessment of a 30%. All right. And I will say to my students that that's a lot, and you have to do your best. Okay, because 30% can greatly help you to get an A for your final grade. Okay, so tonight, okay, I'm just going to share some information, and I think I would like to congratulate Madam Diana as well. She has done a very good job. I've seen the slides that she provided. She gave it to you throughout the semester. I've looked at the notes. I've looked at the requirements. I think this is amazing for Part 1 students. The syllabus is very good, amazing, and I think you guys learned a lot. And obviously, the university is having a good syllabus to prepare you for the next few semesters ahead. Okay, you guys are Part 1. but I think it's a good start, okay, for part one students to learn communicative language skills, right? It's a communicative language, right? Because I look at this, the objective is to prepare you to become a better speaker, all right, to prepare you for them to enhance your speaking ability so that you become a great speaker for the next few semesters. At the end of the day, upon graduation, you become a great communicator, a great presenter, and then you can easily find a job with your communication skills. We believe that you can get a great job later on. Yeah, especially we are dealing with future engineers and future automotive experts in the area. So you need to have a good grounds in your communication so that you can move on, and people will hire you when you go for the interview. Okay, so I think whatever that is prepared for part one students is good. It's really good, right? Which I when Miss Diana said when you are in part three later on, you will learn about pitching products. So I was like amazed with that, and I really think that is really good. You know, it's really good. Yes, Mushrif. Is Mushrif, you have a question? I saw you putting up your hands there. Raise your hand there. Any question?
Mushrif?
No, madam. Sorry.
Okay. Accidentally raised up the hand.
Yeah, I love to have question, and yeah, that'd be good, right? So guys, don't be shy. Okay, don't be shy. Just ask me any question along the way, right? You can stop me anytime. Okay, so that you can don't be shy. This is just a this is like a friendly session, okay, even though it's called a webinar. But then I think I welcome any questions along the way. You don't understand because this has to benefits you a lot. It has to. That's why we have this session, so that it helps you a lot, right, for your presentation. Okay, so what we're gonna have today, guys, what Miss Nana has done throughout the semester was really good. She has prepared you with the notes, okay, with the content especially. I'm here to just to polish everything. I'm just here to glue everything, and then I'm just here to enhance whatever that's there, the knowledge that you gain. I'm just to add values or add flavor to whatever that you have got there. That's it. All right. I'm not. It's nothing new. Right. It's just something to add flavor to what you have, so that your presentation become more dynamic. All right, more dynamic, and it's so that you can get great marks. That's it, right? You get great marks at the end of the day. Okay, so if you have any along the way, if you have any question whatsoever, yes, please ask me, so that the most important thing is that I reveal knowledge, you gain information, and it benefits you at the end. That's the purpose. All right, as I said, Miss Diana has done everything, and here, you need to, once you get the information, you can go on and use them if they are useful, and then voila, your presentation is good. Is right. Okay, and get great marks. So the topic for tonight is creating a dynamic presentation. What we mean by dynamic, so it's very useful for students like you. So a presentation has to be, what does it mean by dynamic? Dynamic is something like have positivity, full of energy, right? Something that's dynamic, something that's very positive, something that has lots of energy, and is something that can introduce new insights and new ideas to the audience. All right, something that produce new insights and new ideas. Or if it's not, something that's very clear, audience understands you, but it has to be, the main thing is that it has to be full of energy and positivity. That's what it means by dynamic. You can Google and see what's the meaning of dynamic there. All right, and an attitude there must be positive attitude. Means you need to prepare for a presentation that has lots of positivity, not only in terms of the content, but in terms of your attitude towards your presentation. Means you really like your presentation. You really like the topic that you are presenting. You really know what you are presenting. Right. So I always say to my students, excuse me, I always say to my students that before you even choose, okay, what to present, because I noticed that there are 5 areas of specialization that has been prepared for you. Am I right, Amar? There are 5 areas, Amar, that Madam Diana gave it to you, that you can choose from that 5 area. And if I can remember, is engineering, social issues, education, right, Madam Diana? Engineering, social issues, education, isn't it?
Yeah, commerce.
Again, what's the other 2?
We have commerce.
Commerce, engineering, social issues, I remember.
Yes, issues,
That
yeah.
relates to environment as well.
Mhm.
Health,
Issues, environmental issues.
and also health, isn't it?
Yeah,
Health
health
issues.
issues and environmental issues.
Yes. So you have to pick a topic from any of these 5 areas. So my advice is that, my precious advice is that, choose something that you really am interested in, and choose something that you really know what you are talking about. All right? Because if you choose a topic because your friend asked you to present that topic, you might not like it. It's not something that of your interest. All right? But if you choose something that you are well versed, you like it so much, you are happy to present it to the audience, and you look forward to present it to the audience, so that your audience get new information, new ideas, then automatically, believe me, that you will know exactly what to say, and you will not read the scripts that you have in your hands. That's most important. When you like it, when you have so much interest in your presentation, you can present it easily because you know what you're talking about. That comes to my next, the next information. Sekejap ya, hold on. Okay, that comes to my next information is, before, let's say you already chose a topic, and then now you have to present. So basically, before you start to present, to me, you have to do kind of like a storyboard. All right, a storyboard is like what. Okay, hold on. All right, a storyboard is like what are the things that you're gonna mention in your slides, right? Step by steps. I do know that the format is that there are 2 presenters. So the first presenter that's going to present the first part of the presentation, and then the next presenter going to present the second part of the presentation, and the next presenter will do the closing. All right. So before you even try to present, you will have a storyboard. You have to have a plan, right? So in your plan, it is advisable that you can do these 3 things. Okay, number 1, try to organize your presentation. All right, you have to organize your presentation so that you know, okay, so that you know that, okay, this is the first thing that you're going to say, this is the second thing that your partner will say. All right, and for the first part of the presentation, you're going to say what? The second part of presentation, what are the rest of the points that you're going to include? Okay, so number 1, definitely you have to organize your presentation. Okay, your whereabouts. Okay, how are you going to start presenting? What's the first thing to do in the introduction? The body section. What will be the thesis statement? What will be the elaboration for the first point that you have? So all these must be well planned, guys. Must be well planned. You cannot just go up and say, okay, let's present it. Okay, so the failure of a presentation will be very obvious when the plan is not properly there. The strategy is not there. All right, you need to have a strategy to prove that your presentation is good. You need to place a strategy to say that this is a wow presentation. Each presentation to win great marks must have a wow factor. So you need to compare, Muhammad, what makes your presentation will win higher marks compared to Chew. What is the wow factor that Muhammad has in your presentation compared to Amar, compared to Mushrif? Or Mushrif would say, mine is better than Amar. Mine is better than Chew. So you need to put that wow factor in each presentation so that Miss Diana is persuaded. She likes your presentation and she's been persuaded with whatever that you present. So you need to win her heart. You need to prove it to her that ours is good. So ask yourself, what is the wow factor that you have in your presentation? What makes yours is different than the others and you deserve more marks, all right, than the others? So this is like a battle, guys. Not only battle in terms of to show that yours is better, but battle to show that you deserve the high marks. You deserve a 28 or 25 and above. Why? These are the things that we have in our presentation. Mind you, you also have to watch on your language. All right. Sometimes the content is good, the strategy is there. All right. The plan is there in place. Right. What stops it from getting higher marks is the proficiency that you have, the language proficiency. That's another thing that carries a lot of marks. And I've looked at the rubrics, and I think language is 10 marks, if I'm not mistaken. Right, madam? 10 marks.
Yeah, correct.
The total is 30.
30.
Right? And 10 marks is for language.
Yeah, content is 15 marks and delivery we have 5 marks.
Yes. So if you notice there, after content, the next highest marks is language. So you can have a proper plan, you can have a very strategic presentation, but you have to watch on the proficiency as well. All right. So how do you can do better in proficiency? So we're going to go to the next slide. All right. The next thing is that you need to include in your presentation any supporting materials for your presentation. You need to have that. Sometimes they call it, you need to have some props. Okay. So what kind of props that we can have? See, these are some supporting materials that you need to further added value to your presentation, to give more values to your presentation. So it can be in many forms. We're going to go over that later on. What are the types of supporting materials that you can have? Okay, and finally, as I said, the methods of delivery. Okay, how do you deliver your presentation, your great slides, your great content there? Okay, how you could present it, okay, with your expression, your intonation, the language, the way you dress. So everything will be counted towards a better presentation. Okay, so we're going to look at what are the methods of delivery later on. Okay, the next is how to organize, right? What's good present? Why is good organization of information in presentation is important? Why? Why is that good organization? When you organize it well, okay, when you organize your presentation well, it is very important. Why? Okay, so this is why is it? To ensure audience can understand and retain as much information that is presented. Okay, so that's why. So to make sure the audience, especially Madam Diana, okay, because she is not only the audience, she's also the examiner. All right. So to make sure that she understands what you are saying, especially your language proficiency, the language that you use, she understands it, and she also retain as much information. So one motivation here, okay, that's what I always do when I become a presenter. Mind you, sometimes in a conference, I'm also a presenter at the university for any, sometimes I become a presenter for the new lecturers. We call it orientation week. All right. And I have to present information about the university. All right. I also sometimes become a presenter for some English courses outside. All right. So when I become a presenter, sometimes I have to present information to our big bosses, right? Our reports. So I always say to myself, okay, this is one motivation that I want to give it to you. I always say to myself is that who is standing? This is how I motivate myself. Now, look at the situation. Who is standing and who's sitting? So to me, whoever that's standing has the great power or in the position of controlling the situation. And whoever is listening is crave for the information from me. It's like that. That's what I said to myself. These people are craving to know, to sit down and look at me and crave for the information that I'm going to reveal, that I'm going to present. So in this situation, I'm better than the one that's sitting because I'm standing. So while I'm standing, I am more knowledgeable than the one that's sitting there. So that is to avoid stage fright. All right, that is to avoid stage fright. Because you know what I mean by stage fright? When you go up the stage, you are frightened about what you need to do, right? That is called stage fright. All right. So to avoid that, from having anxiety to have all this, feeling that you are scared, you have to present, and Madam Diana is giving us marks. To avoid that, I will always say that to myself. I know better. I am presenting. I know what I'm saying. And when it comes to the knowledge wise, I know better than all those people that are sitting down. That's what I say to myself. All right. And therefore, that's why I'm standing. I have this privilege of standing. I've been given this honor to stand up and to tell people what I know and how much I know, and to persuade people to keep listening to my presentation and to like my presentation and to put interest as much as the interest I have in my presentation. That's what I say to myself. I need to persuade people to like my presentation, and I need to convince people that what I say is great, and I'm just revealing new insights to the audience. All right. And if it's not that new, something that they will learn. Maybe it's not so new to them, but they do learn from the way you present it. They will remember the way you present it. They say, yeah, that presenter, yeah, she's good, man. She said this, and I learned from her this. She's the one that tell me about this. So you need to make sure you keep that in place, and you need to make sure people remember you for that. So that's what makes a great presenter. And it's not only in terms of presenting it, in terms of the content that you present. So to me, to avoid any stage fright, I would just say to myself, I know better, man. Those people sitting there knows nothing. I'm the one that knows a lot. So I'm presenting new knowledge here. So you guys are listening to me. So you better look at how good I am presenting the knowledge. So I will say that to myself. Okay, so make sure your aim is to reveal knowledge, to make people understand what you are saying, and people retain a lot of knowledge from you, and people like your presentation so much because you are very clear, you are very enthusiastic, you are very interesting, and the knowledge that you present is also damn good. It's like that. So you need to put feelings in what people are. When people listen to you, this is what they get. All right, clear? Any questions there? You can ask about my experience or anything like that. Anything? Okay, let's move on. If there's no question, so let's move on. So the next thing to know, this is supposed to be earlier. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Okay, can you go to this QR code? That is a question. What makes a good presentation? Right? I want to give you 2 minutes now for you to write down, okay, what in your opinion a good presentation is, in your opinion, now, right? Because I'm sure you have listened to presentation and you have an experience. So in your opinion now, what makes a good presentation? Okay, scan that QR code now. And let's see. What's the results? One word to describe. This is one word. Hold on.
I know this one.
Hold on. Come again?
I guess this is not the one.
Yeah. That's not the one. Hold on now. Kejap. Hold on. Okay. Let me get back. Okay. Yeah. The QR code is okay, right? Is correct, right? Diana, can you get the question there, guys?
Okay. Guys, is it working, the QR code?
Is it working? The QR code?
Can you see the
Hold on,
questions there? Yes, yes, yes. You can see the
Okay,
questions.
can you, okay,
Yeah.
keep coming, keep having the answers. Yeah.
Makes a good presentation. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, what makes a good presentation?
You'll see the results after this. Okay. Yeah, it's coming up. All right. All right, it's coming up, right? What makes a good presentation? Come on, guys. There's only 6 students have responded. Good body language, a good point and explanation given. Yeah, great, but right, correct. Confidence, yes, like that. Eye contact with the audience instead of just looking at the slides or notes. Oh, exactly, correct. You're not supposed to read your slides. Okay, remember the slide is meant to be for the audience, not for you. You're supposed to be well versed in your slides. You're supposed to know what's next coming up. All right, and you're supposed to supposed to have the eye contact with you and your audience. The slides, remember, the slide is meant to be for the audience, not for you. You should be on your fingertips already by then. Yeah. Have a main point and more than one supporting details. Yeah, correct. That sounded like Madam Diana's teachings there. Good. Engaging. Yes. Icebreakers, visual storytelling. Good. Smiling and positive emotion. Great. Perfect language. Perfect language is like very subjective there. All right. Because you will try as much, but trust me, believe me, we are not the native speakers of the language. We are born to make mistakes. It's okay, but not so much mistakes. But you can still make mistakes. So it can't be that perfect, right? Can't be that perfect. Emotional impact. Wow. The presenter can deliver the topic to the public clearly. Yeah. Be prepared about the topic that you want to present. I assume that's what the student is saying here. Be prepared about the topic that you want to present. Exactly. Correct. Yes, yes, yes. Like it. All right. Keep coming up. Yeah. A good point explanation given. Okay. So far we have 16 responded. Can we have more there? Any more? 16 so far. In my opinion, can't see that clearly. Yeah. In my opinion, a good presentation is you can pull everyone's attention with amazing words. Exactly. Get attention grabber there. Good. All right. So keep having it. Right. I'll just continue for the presentation as for now. Right. Okay. So 3 golden rules. I would like to suggest here. There are 3 golden rules what you need to do when you want to organize your presentation. Okay. Because you can just keep sending your answers. Yeah. It'll be recorded. Okay. 3 golden rules. Okay, when you want to organize before you start presenting, it's not in terms of delivery. Yeah, when you are presenting, you're organizing your slides or you're organizing your presentation. 3 things that you have to bear in mind. 3 golden rules we called it. Okay, number 1, tell them what you are going to tell them. As simple as that. Rule number 2, just tell them. All right, and rule number 3, tell them what you have told them. Remember, when you are organizing your slides, remember these 3 things. Number 1, tell them what you are going to tell them. You plan to want to tell them, so better tell them what you plan to tell them. And then the second process is you just tell them. Okay, and the third process is tell them what you have told them. Okay, so what does it mean here? Okay, what it means here is that rule number 1, okay, in your introduction, all right, you are advised to have an attention grabber. Okay, you're advised to have an attention grabber. So when you start preparing your slides or to organize your presentation, you must say to yourself, especially the ones that introducing the topic, You say, I need to do something that will attract the attention of the audience to pay attention to my presentation. Bear in mind, sometimes, let's say in the whole class, there are 40 of you, there are 38 of you, right? Surely, let's say, maybe the first two, maybe everybody will be excited to listen to you because it's the first two, right? Everybody's like, let's see the first two, who's going to be, what he or she is going to say. But towards the middle of the presentation, maybe you are in a number 25, number 28, or even number 30, or even number 39. How do you think the audience will feel like? Yeah, true, it's a different days, right? Maybe, correct, Madam Diana? It's going to be in many different days, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we need around 6 hours to finish the presentation. Yeah, basically
So
different days.
one day, how many groups will present?
We can afford to have 2 hours would be around 10 presentations.
There you go. 2 hours, 10 presentations, right? Can you think you can pay attention to someone, all the 10 groups in 2 hours? All right. So the first two groups, maybe you'll be very attentive. But once you get into the 6th group or the 7th group, what comes to mind is just that you want to finish it. You just want to present and you want to get rid of it. That's it, just present and that's it. Case closed. And I'm happy with that. So you will not be like, audience will not be like looking forward. Audience will just be waiting for your turn. You'll be anxious waiting for your turn, and you might not be listening to your friends. So you, the presenters, need to do something to make sure that your friends suddenly will just, wow, look at this. By your intonation, by the way you dressed up, the way you present it, the first word that comes from your mouth will really grab people's attention, right? So you can maybe pose the questions, or maybe you can give us fun facts or trivia, all right, to begin with. Or you can even have videos in the beginning, right? But remember, there is a time restriction on the videos. So you are supposed to present in 10 minutes, guys. Each speaker is 5 minutes, right? So make sure you don't present the video long, right? If you want to show a video in the beginning of the presentation, make it precise and short. Make it interesting. Make it, you are presenting a video for a reason. Why you introduce it in the beginning as an attention grabber. So make sure it's short as about 1 to 2 minutes only. Because if not, as an examiner, I would think that is an escapism, right? You don't want to present, you don't want to reveal your proficiency, you find a video and as a method of escaping yourself from having to present. So that would be too bad because you are losing marks there. All right. So you remember that a video is just to add value to your presentation. It's one of the supporting materials. So when it is a supporting material, it cannot be the core of your presentation. All right. So if you take it as the core of the presentation, as I said, madam would think that you are trying to escape from presenting, from doing a public speaking. Okay, so if you want to show a video in the beginning, make it short and precise. Maybe about 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, so that is a way of attention grabber. You grab people's attention. It's like hook people's attention to listen to you. Okay, you can do that, but not too long, right? So, but you can also have trivia there. You can also have fun facts there. You can also have post questions to your audience, right? So they'll be like happy to answer you, or they'll be waiting for you to answer the question that you posted. It's like that, okay? So number 1. Number 2, you try to come up with something that there is a reason for them to listen to you. As I said, when they look, the first word that you say, the way you dress up, your facial expression, the way you stand up and try to talk to the audience makes it a value, a reason for why people want to listen to you further. So find out, ask yourself, what can we do to make sure our audience is waking up and wanting to listen to us? Find a way. You have to find a way how to do that. All right. And you also need to show that you have the credibility in presenting. Listen to me because I am in the position of being the right person to talk about this issue. I'm the right person to talk about social issues. I'm the right person to talk about parking system, the smart parking system. I'm the right person to talk about what some other issues. For example, what comes to mind? Let's say you want to talk about the social issues nowadays in Malaysia, right? So you will say to yourself that this is the right person to talk about it. Since you are doing engineering, so maybe you are engineering students. If you want to find a topic that is suitable for engineering students, right? And therefore, people would say that, yeah, you are the expert. You are trying to introduce to people what a smart parking system is all about, for example, right? So show the audience that you are the right person to present. You have the credibility in present. It can be in the form of the way you dressed up, okay, the way you present yourself, your appearance, okay. It can also be the way your tone, okay, the tone setting that you have for yourself. So that's why the last point is proper tone setting for the topic and occasion. So how would an engineer start talking, right? So the right tone for the right position that you are in, for the right occasion that you are in. All right. So think about that in your introduction. How would you do it? Okay. Then tell them what you're going to tell them. Okay. Sorry. Next one is tell them. Just not tell them what they want to know. Now tell them. Okay. A lot to talk about, but very limited time. So here, you must remember that when you start presenting, the moment you give your salutation, the moment you give your greetings, then the time starts, right? The moment you say morning, madam, and so on, then she will just click on the time that she has. So to me, you have to really have a mechanism how you can time yourself, right? Because time is very limited. So you need to know what are your main points as claims in the complete sentences. As Madam Diana has told you, you need to have a thesis statement. You need to have all the elaboration for each point that you have, right? Every point should be developed into a thesis. And you need to have 5 points or 6 points for each presentation. Maybe the first presenter takes 3 points. The next presenter takes 3 points as you have planned, all right? And then give one idea for each main point that you have, right? And if possible, use parallel structure in each point that you have. Okay, try to have it parallel, the structure that you have. Okay, let's say in the first point, you mentioned this way. The parallel is that you have the points, you have the elaboration, and you have a supporting materials. Okay, do that. The second point, you will have the main point, you have the thesis there, you have the elaboration there, and it's going to be backed up with the supporting materials. Maybe a picture chart, maybe a bar graph, maybe a statistics in your content, or maybe you will support them with a video. You want to support them with a chart that you have. Okay, have it. Right? But tell yourself that every single point you will have to produce evidence to support what you are saying. And these are your supporting materials. So in the process of presenting, try to make sure you have the right point, the right elaboration that supports your topic. Okay? Sometimes what I notice for my students' presentation is that they have a good topic, but somehow along the line, the points that they have don't really support the topic. Okay, they don't really support the topic. That's number one. Number two, sometimes your points are overlapping, right? You are not giving us exactly different points. You are giving us certain points that overlaps, right? So when the points are overlapping, guys, it's about the same point, marks will not be given to you. No marks. You have marks, but not so high marks. Why? Because the points are overlapping. They're almost close to each other. So make sure every single point is different. Okay? Every single point that you have to defend your topic is different, and they have proper elaboration for each point. So that's why Ms. Diana pointed out that you must have a thesis and you must have proper elaboration. Okay, so what I notice my students like, they without noticing it, they're giving us points that's overlapping. Okay, so if you think that you have 6 points, if the points are overlapping, you might end up having only 4 points instead of 6. So we will give you marks based on the 4 points. That's different, not all the 6 points, because 2 of your points is overlapping. It's the same thing. All right, so tell yourself that every single point is different and every single point is giving you new insights to the topic. It's defending the topic. All right, everybody understood what I'm saying here? So far, so good?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Yes,
Okay.
madam.
All right, thank you. Good. All right. Okay, let's look at the last thing. What do you need to have? You have to do a conclusion, right, for your presentation. Okay, when you need to do a conclusion, tell them what you have told them. This is most interesting, right? Tell them what you have told them. So when you are doing conclusion, this is like you are telling them again, the second presenter, you are telling them again, and then you are doing a summary for everything that you guys have presented, right? From the beginning, you're going to recap everything and put them in proper place, and then so that the moment before you leave the stage or before you leave the presentation, you want your audience to understand, okay, what you have mentioned from the beginning until the end of your presentation. How to make it as if there's any along the presentation, your audience, when the mind is not focusing, they went somewhere else, right? So how would you say to yourself, this is my last chance to make sure my audience understand what I'm saying. This is my last chance. I'm doing a summary so that my audience or Miss Diana would understand what I'm saying. Okay, you are giving a summary. You are giving a closing statement, right? You want to remind your audience about the points that you have presented by giving a summary of your main ideas. Okay, you need to do that. So I would like to suggest what's the best way to do it. Throughout my experience, the best way for you to do this is by giving an infographic. Okay, information in a form of a graphic, guys. Don't give information in terms of paragraphs. In your slides, don't have paragraphs. Okay, yeah, sometimes people suggest that you have bullets. Okay, you have bullets there. So one bullet, and then you have your bullets, and then in there, you will present your summaries. Yeah, most of the people do that. But I would like to suggest that another way, maybe having bullets is good, but another attractive way to do it is by showing infographic. Okay, by showing infographic. What is infographic? Let me show you what I meant by infographic. Yeah, this. All right, this is what I meant by infographic. Okay, have it in the form of this way. Isn't it interesting? Like, for example, this is what my students did. They have a topic on, do online students cheat more on tests? This is what I gave to my students. They came up with the questions, and in their presentations, okay, they need to summarize the presentation. So they have it in the form of infographic like this. This is called a mind map. Okay, this is called a mind map. So you have it this way, and you try to present the circles. So these are all your points. These are all your summaries. So when your audience look at it, it's something different, isn't it? It's something different. People are not looking at words and phrases anymore. They're looking at, you have shown them a visual there. All right. If not, they have to read your paragraphs. But now they are reading what's in the circle, but you are presenting it more. The visual is better. Colors. All right. And information is placed in a simplified way. Right? So if another way, if you don't want to have it this way, you can also have it this way. All right, you can have it this way. This way. Right, this is called mind mapping as well. All right, and I would like to suggest there are two software, right? Or maybe we can say, yeah, a presentation software for mind mapping. For mind map, you can go to Mindster. Yeah, let me type in the chat. I'm going to type in the chat so you can go there. You can Google after this, right? Mind, MIND, right? MEISTER. Mindster. Okay, Mindster. And another one, wise mapping. Wise mapping. Yeah. Okay, so the template is there, guys. You just want to add your words. The templates are all there. If you go to My Mindster and Wise Mapping, it's there, and you can even choose, okay, the template that you want, and then you can just add your information that you want to how you summarize your points. Have you come across that? Have you come across this? My Mindster and Wise Mapping?
Yeah, I've mentioned actually MindMeister for you to do your mind map. You can use MindMeister, remember? Guys? Wise mapping is
Yes,
somehow
I remember.
wise mapping is something new. Wise mapping, perhaps you can also try wise mapping as well. Yeah?
Wise
Thank you.
mapping. Okay. All right. So this is another way, okay, to attract audience attention. Or you can have a different infographic information. Any infographic style, use them so that you can reveal your summary. That's it. That's the only purpose. Okay. So the purpose is to summarize information so that people will be attracted to look at your information rather than just having bullets. Maybe the bullets are interesting, not bad. It's okay. You can have the bullets there. But maybe you want to show something different to the audience. Use infographic. Can be in any form, so long that is infographic. Okay, so to me, that's the best way to do a recap on whatever that you have presented. Okay, so at the end of the day, okay, you also you have an introduction, the body, and the conclusion, and all the information that you have from the beginning until the end, it must be cohesive. Okay, they must have word sentences that connect segments. I think I remember in the notes that Madam Diana gave you some phrases, expressions that you can use. Signposting, isn't it? Right? Some phrases there you can use to recap, to conclude, right? To even emphasize clarity, okay? To emphasize ideas, bind all the main points to form a coherent presentation. So at the end, you need to use transitions. Okay, I think you have enough notes on transition. She has given you lots of phrases that you can use in order to have a unity and coherence in your presentation. All your points must be glued together, connected, so that, and you can use transitions to do that, so that you can see the how clear the points are, and the audience are. They like to listen to you, and your presentation is interesting. Sorry. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. If not, let's talk about supporting materials. Yeah, somebody. Okay. What are supporting materials? As I told you just now, try to have your points presented in a way where, okay, you have a thesis statement, you have the elaboration. What else can you use so that each point that you have or your presentation gets interesting? Okay, so you need to use a lot of supporting materials that anything backs up the claims in the presentation. You claim that the information is this way. So anything to back you up is by using maybe statistics, right? Maybe statistics is the best thing that you can have, okay, to show that your points are good, that people will not deny. There's no denial on the facts because you have statistics there, right? Or maybe you can have charts there, right? So here, okay, the function of supporting materials to make abstract or complicated ideas more understandable. Okay, any complicated ideas, especially you guys are engineers, right? Automotive students. So maybe there's something in the process that it becomes complicated for you to explain to the examiner. So how can you make sure that any complications along the way that you might think your audience might not understand you, okay, how can you make sure it can be understandable? The process can be understood, right? This is a how process. So how can you make sure that people understand what you are saying? Okay, it's quite complicated. So you need supporting materials, okay, to make sure people understand you. How to put interest so that whenever the audience listening to you, they understand you, you are very clear, and it's meaningful to the audience. How? Okay, sometimes it's not clear and it's not meaningful to them. For example, automotive students are presenting something that's not of ingenious interest, right? Atau maybe Madam Diana, you know, she's a language lecturer, right? So how can you present something that she got very interested in? Am I right, Diana? Sometimes we are just social studies experts, right? We are language people. We are in the social studies field, all right? So and you are presenting that's very technical, right? So how can you make sure Miss Diana would understand you? I got this feeling. You see, I got this experience, Diana, because I did do part-time job once upon a time for 10 years in UTP.
Okay.
All right. From 2004 until 2014. Okay, I was a part-time lecturer in UTP. So I
And
do
most of the
understand.
students are engineering students, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Most of the engineering students, IT students. Okay. And I got a mix from different group. Every semester we get a mix. Yeah. Don't tell me about citizenships. There are Algerians, you know,
Yeah.
there are from Middle East, from
International
Thailand,
students.
from all over the world. Right. So I got the experience for 10 years having to teach them from UTP. And one thing for sure is that I deal with engineering students. Okay, so I do understand the position that you are in, having to be there and having to assess their presentation when they are speaking, when they are presenting something on the technical part, right? So, see, as an examiner, okay, or as a person that listens to you, we need to understand what you're talking about. So, please, okay, engineers or anything that when you speak something on technical, you must make sure people like me, like Madam Diana, understand what you are saying, right? If it's simple matters like environmental problems or social issues, any general issues, that'd be easy. But when you are presenting something that's technical and we are not in the technical line, you have to make sure we understand what you're talking about. So how guys? Using these supporting materials, right? Take this opportunity to make sure we understand what you're talking about. And you need to put some interest and some proof in it. Okay? It's clarity. Okay, the function of supporting materials is clarity, to make it clearer, to put interest in the audience, and at the end of the day, to prove what you are saying. Okay, that is the function of supporting materials, to prove that whatever that you're presenting is correct, is full of evidence, and you're able to convince us that your presentation is good because it has lots of evidence in whatever that you're saying. And that can be done through your supporting materials. Okay, what are supporting materials? What are the types of supporting materials? There are two types. One, verbal support, and two, visual aids. Okay, there are two types. One, verbal supports, and another, visual aids. Means when you want to defend your presentation, when you want to convince us that you are correct, when you want to show that your presentation, your points is clear, when you want to show to us that your points is is proven, all right, you can use these two way of showing it to us. Okay, visual aids or verbal support. Okay, what does it mean by verbal support? Okay, examples. So when you present, give us examples. You verbally say it, right? You say it in your presentation. These are the examples. So examples can clarify matters. You can even give a story. Okay, let's say how it does, how it works. Okay, what happened here? Okay, where does this information comes from? Can even give us statistics. You can even give us comparison of system, comparison of users, for example. You can even give us citations. Okay, every information that you take is from these citation, this research work. All right, you cited from these people, you cited from this famous work, right? And the work is from a journals, for example. So you can give citations. So when you present facts to us, then we would just say, yeah, this is it. Voila. The presentation is good. It's full of evidence. Okay, you are not telling lies, or you are not giving us sweeping statements. You know what sweeping statements is? Have you heard of sweeping statements? Have you heard of it, guys? Shami? Have you ever come across the phrase sweeping statements? Shami? Ariane?
Yes, anybody knows what is sweeping statement?
No, nobody knows what is the phrase sweeping statements means.
Yeah, any idea?
Guys, any ideas? Or maybe you have no idea what is it about. Never come across that phrase. Statements that there's no facts. Statements it's just opinions. Right? Statements there's no proven that is good, is correct. Sweeping, like that you sweep something. How do you sweep? Just browse through like that, right? You sweep. So a statement that has no evidence, there's no facts. It's just an opinion. An opinion can be a sweeping statement, right? But when you give me statistics, that's true facts, right? It's not something that have no evidence, full of evidence. So one way is by verbally, okay, mention your supporting materials, your examples, your statistics. And that is one way to say that, yeah, your presentation, your ideas, your points are good, right? Because it has lots of facts. Yes, Shakir, you have a question, Shakir? Shakir, any question?
Yes, Shakir.
Or you accidentally push the button? No question, Shakir? Or anything wrong with the line? Maybe we can't hear you or anything like that? Or you can put them in the chat box.
Yeah, if you have anything, you can just type your question in the chat box, okay? Type your questions in the chat box, all right? Guys, are you still there?
Yeah. Is it all right to have a colorful slides, or we just make it minimal? Make it minimal.
Minimalist, okay.
Let me see. Colorful slides, or we just make it minimalist to attract the audience attention. Oh, colorful slides. If you were to ask me, Shakir, I tell you the truth, I'm a visual person. I don't know about Madam Diana. I'm a visual person. Means I like it colorful. Right? But some people have the idea that but one thing for sure, okay, let me ask you another question, Miss Diana. When they present, let's say they're having a slides, so you have a projector there, right?
Yeah.
All right, and then they will stand in front, and then they will use the projector, right?
Exactly.
Right? Okay. One thing I want to tell you is that whenever you are presenting it in a projector, you must try it first before you start presenting. Means go to class, you must show it on the screen. You will see whether the fonts there, the colors that you have can be read or not by the examiner or by the audience, right? A
Yeah.
combination of red and yellow is no good, right? Let's say you have the background like this, you have the background white and the font is, the words are in black, that's okay. And look at the picture that you have there. People can see the picture, we can see the supporting materials there, and we can read the words, okay? But make sure when you have colors on the slides, make sure it is readable, all right? The moment you project it on the screen, and the moment the examiner sat at the back and trying to read the slides, sometimes the combination of the colors, the background and the font, it doesn't work. At the end, we can't read what's on the slides. Have you come across that? Right? Because remember, the examiner is sitting at the back, is facing is looking at the projector, right? She's not reading your laptop. She's not reading your laptop. She's reading the projector, what's on the projector. So sometimes the combination of the background and the font that you are using is not clear, guys. Okay, can't be right. Can't be read, right? So make sure it is readable from far. And let's say if she sits in the front, make sure she can read whatever that you have on the screen. Be alert with the colors that you use in your slides.
Okay? The fonts and then the backgrounds as well. Make sure it suits the fonts, right?
Yes, exactly. We're going to talk about the font later on. How big is the font? But when you talk about colors, yeah, I'm a visual person. I like it to be colorful. Like I like to have pictures there, right? I like to have all the visual aids there. But my advice, guys, okay, before you start presenting, put it on the projector and ask yourself or ask your friends, can you read what's on the slides? What's on the projector? So if you cannot read, change everything. Change the background, change the colors of the font and so on. And change the picture there. Okay, sometimes the pictures is just very disturbing. And sometimes you have it on the laptop, everything's perfect. When you project it, it becomes blurred. Okay, or the picture is not clear there. Okay, am I answering? So, whose question was that? Shahmi? Was it Shahmi?
Amar, right?
Amar.
Thank you, Amar, for the question.
Amar, is that okay? All right. So the next thing is to use visual aids. Okay. Remember, as just mentioned just now, you can use a verbal support and you can use visual aids. Okay. What is the function of the visual aids? To help the audience to see relationship and to remember materials. Whatever point that you mentioned just now, when you add visual aids there, they will remember better, right? They will remember the points that maybe they look at the picture here like this, for example, or they're talking about visual aids. So the picture there becomes the visual aid to support your points. Okay, but remember, they should be used as supplementary, not the core of your presentation. All right, your presentation should be in the form of slides, right? But the visual aids that you have is just to help out the points that you are presenting. It functions as supplementary, guys. Remember that. Okay, it's not the main thing about your presentation. For example, okay, you can have this, right? Percentage of speech remembered after. Okay, so verbal. Okay, for verbal, when you say things verbally, it says 70% be remembered. Okay, visual, more than 70%. Okay, after 3 days, visual, they can still have 20% in their mind. But if, let's say, verbal, after 3 days, it's only 10% that can be remembered. But however, if you combine verbal and visual, meaning that whatever you say together with supplementary materials, for example, you mentioned statistics, all right, and you kept the statistic in the form of bar graph, all right, or you kept the statistic in the form of a line graph. Okay, so people will remember whatever that you presented. 3 hours for verbal and 3 days for visual. Okay, so they remember what you presented in visually. They remember it for 3 days. This is from research. Okay, how long will people keep things in mind after you present it? So it is advisable that you use both strategy, verbal and visual. Okay, then when to use? Okay, when to use supporting materials. The first step is to establish the need for an aid. Ask yourself, okay, this is my point. What do I need? Do I need a chart? Do I need a diagram? Do I need a video? Do I need a picture that comes along with it? So ask yourself. And then, so after you have read through all your points, then go to every single point, ask, do I have to put a picture here in my second point? Do I have to have a video for my third point? Discuss in a team, what should you have for every single point that you have to support your points. Okay, so that it becomes a good supporting materials. And then timing, right? So display your aid only when you're about to discuss it, right? For example, don't display your aid when, let's say, you are presenting your third point. Okay, you have started to present your visual aids when you mention your first point. Okay, because if not, the audience will get distracted if they see something that they don't understand. Suddenly you have the visual aids there and they were like wondering, what is this picture is all about? It doesn't relate to the point. Okay, this relate to the points that they mentioned earlier, for example. So make sure it's the right supporting materials for the right point. Okay, if not, audience will get, what's going on? What is this? What is supporting materials for? All right. And most important thing, concentrate on presenting one major idea per aid. Right? One supporting materials that you have, presenting one idea. Okay, people see, oh, this idea is connected. Yeah. Okay, this is how this visual aid, how this chart, how this diagram, how this video support what you are saying. Okay, the more simple it is, the better. So look at this. For example, guys, if you look at my slide here, there's not much words. There's not much words, right? And it's only simplicity is important. And look at the sentences. Concentrate on presenting one major idea per aid. All right. And I just have a picture of then I have the word there, idea. And so, oh, we are talking about idea. All right. So you don't need many words. Later on, we discuss what makes a good slides. Okay. What makes one piece of slide is the best way for you to present. Okay. So far, any question? Place aids carefully.
No, madam.
Okay. The audience can see and hear your aids. If you have a video, make sure they can hear your video. If you have a picture there, as I said, make sure the picture is not blurred, right? It can be easily seen and you can access them easily. Sometimes, okay, the sad thing is that time is so limited. You want to try to have a video and suddenly on the day of presentation, the video cannot be played. It happens, right? And it takes more time to try to play the video and the time is running fast. All right, so make sure before you start presenting, sometimes it's connection. Sometimes because in the laptop, in the computer, you can present the video well. Once you throw it to the projector, it doesn't work. Somehow it doesn't work on the projector. It works on your laptop. Sometimes so many things comes wrong on the day of the presentation. So it's best to check whether the video works, especially before your presentation. Okay, it can be heard. Pictures is clear and not blurred. Right. And then what aid should you use? Okay. So here the selection should be based on the speech content, the audience, and the occasion. Okay. Pay attention. Any supporting materials, any visual aids that you want to use. Okay. Ask yourself, okay, is the selection that you have, is it suitable with your content? Is it suitable with the audience? And the occasion means that you are doing a presentation for what? Okay, for your class. That's the occasion. Right. So put this in place and ask yourself, is it suitable or not for every points that I have? Okay. Some basic guidelines for aids. Make it easy to see. Keep it simple, consistent with the objective. Right. Eye contact, and you have to talk about the visual. Don't just present it and then just you don't you don't, especially when you're presenting visual aids on diagrams, right? On diagrams just now. I can't remember just now I give you the diagrams on the memory, how much people remember. Remember just now I go through every single bar graph, right? Every single bar there. So this is for verbal, this is for visual, and what is the percentage for verbal and visual. So make sure when you have that as your visual aids, explain it to the audience. Don't take long to explain it, but do explain it a bit what your graph is all about. Okay, if you do have bar graph or pie chart as your visual aids. Okay, do not pass. Okay, let's say if you have an item, okay, sometimes you call it props. You bring it to class, or sometimes we call it prototype. Right, we call it prototype, and you bring it to class. Okay, the advice is that once you start presenting, don't start passing around the item. Don't pass the item. They start presenting and you pass. So why? Because to me, when you start sending, let's say you have a poster, for example, a very simple item as visual aids, as posters. You're talking about tourism in Malaysia, for example, or you're talking about environmental issues, and you brought the item to class, right? To convince people what you are saying, what you are presenting about, and you pass it around. You pass it around to your friends. So do you know what happened next? What happened next is that people will look at what you give them, and that will be very distracting. They will not listen to you anymore, and the audience will be very noisy, because people will start to talk about what you brought there, what you pass around. Okay, and at the end of the day, they make noise. They will not listen to you, right? And you get very distracted. So whenever you do any presentation, you have anything to show them, do not pass it around yet until you have finished your presentation. Okay? And do not bring things that's dangerous, right? Or illegal. Or please don't bring live animals to your presentation. If you want to bring them, make sure they are in a cage, and people just see them in a cage, right? Don't bring them, carry them, and pass it around to audience. Never, ever, ever. Because something happens, but people then it becomes very noisy. And the animal will just run away, and people start searching the animal, right? And or maybe the animal is jumping from one to another. Oh, please, don't. All right, and also prepare for any problems that will pop up. Okay, so in case if you have any problems appear, so always have backups to continue presenting it, so that your presentation will just go on even though you have problems there. Okay, so these are some types of visual aids, right? You can have slides. Okay, your lecturer has already asked you to. Oh, by the way, about slides, yeah, I'll talk about slides. You can have posters, you can have objects, right? You can have models, and you can have handouts. Okay, these are some of it. So talking about slides, guys, okay, I have one suggestions. Okay, talking about slides, let's talk about slides. Okay, that's one guy Kawasaki. Okay, please pay attention to this. He came up with the rules. He said that when you come up with slides, okay, the best way of coming up with slides is to follow the rules 10, 20, 30. Okay, what is 10, 20, 30? A presentation is for 10 minutes. Okay, it's best to have only 20 slides, and it's best to use font 30 in your slides. When you use font 30, it's big, right? So that's why it became like what I showed you just now. Okay, my slide just now. Look at my slide just now. There's not many words, isn't it? Look at this. Look at this slide. Not so many words. Isn't it? Not so many words. It's just simple words and it's all just the main point there. And it is, you have lots of supporting materials there. You have the pictures there and so on, right? And the font is big, right? And do not have lot of sentences and do not have paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs in your slides. Because the more paragraphs you have on the slide, the higher tendency for you to read your slides because it's there. So once it's there and you are looking at it, you have the tendency to read it further. You have the tendency to read all the sentences in the slides. So when you read sentences, guys, marks will be deducted. You're not supposed to read your slides. Am I right, Madam Diana? You mentioned it to the students, right? They're not supposed to read their slides, right?
Yes. Yes, I will stop the presentation if you start reading your script.
Go.
Right.
There you go. She will stop your presentation. That's what I do.
I warn them.
Yeah. You want them already, isn't it? All right.
Yeah.
That's what I do to my students. That's what I do. I will stop them as well. All right. So in order to make sure you don't read your slide, try to use these tips. This one, right? You need to have it for font 30. The font is 30 and the slides is advised to have it for 20 slides only. And yeah, you have to do a presentation in 10 minutes. Right? So this is a guy Kawasaki that came up with this idea. So I hope you can try to use these suggestions, this rule by this. It's really good. It's really good. And it makes your presentation better. Yeah. And then many other types of visual aids. You can use flip charts, you can use whiteboard, you can use audio, video clips, and you can use projected computer graphics. Graphics. Okay, you can have that as well. All right. And as I said, a picture worth, right? When you show a picture there, okay, for example, this is an example, guys. You read this thing, right? Hanging from a small pin, pounded into the mountain, surface can be exciting if dangerous activity. You read this, you might not understand. You were just like wondering, what is this sentences, this paragraph is all about? Okay, I don't show you anything, I just show you this. And audience will be reading and say, gee, what is this? Right, but what if instead of this, I have this? There you go. You get everything. You get the feel is there as well. Wow, you get everything. So whatever that they mentioned is there in the picture. Got me? So it's better to show a picture that worth 1,000 words than having 1,000 words in the slides. Okay? This, another example. You have to read BTS, also known as the Bangtan Boys from South Korean. Read and then look at the font. It's too small, right? But what if I don't have this, but I have this instead? Look at that. Who are BTS? I have the picture of the group members and look at the information that I have. Short, precise, clear. Everything about them. Right? Just now you have to read. And the font is small and too much of reading. Right? But look at this. Simplified version. And it's very interesting. Look at this. Okay? You got the information, right? Everything there. Together with the pictures, your supporting materials. And look at the font. Philanthropy. Look at the font there. And the colors. It's there. And it's clearer. Okay? Or you can have whiteboard. Okay? The process of writing or drawing reduce contact between the presenter and the audience. Yeah. When you go to the whiteboard, you start writing, you start drawing something. Okay, it reduces the contact. There'll be no eye contact after that. All right? Because you are turning your back, you're going to the board, you're writing something on the board, and you are turning your back to the audience. So there be less contact between the presenter and the audience. Okay, and practice presentation as it will actually be performed. Plan on what to say during that time, such as time spent walking over to the audience. For example, what do we mean by that time here? You're walking towards the audience. You're walking towards let's say to the whiteboard. What are you going to say? You should say something so that the audience will keep listening to you. So how much plan? Say to yourself, what are we going to say? Right before when we are doing something and the audience is not doing anything. So you need to say something so that the audience keep listening to you and keep paying attention to you. So this is called planning for the dead time, right? Time that you have there that audience is still waiting, but you're not saying anything. So plan to say something. Don't just keep silence, right, during your presentation. Our late Steve Jobs, okay, why he managed to sell, okay, millions of iPhones, right? Why? Okay, because we believe that how did he do a good job? His key to presentation success is by spending hours and hours rehearsing every point that he presented. So that is one key success to how he was able to sell millions of iPhones. Whenever he wants to do some presentation, he will keep rehearsing. He will keep doing and even him will do the rehearsal. So my advice is that, okay, when you start presenting, explain all your visual aids, display everything. Okay, never display without the visual aids. Meaning that when you want to say something and you have a visual aids and you don't want to display it. So you can have it, but explain it so you don't display the item that I was talking about. Remember, you was passing it around. So never display without using visual aids, and do not rush. Okay, don't rush. I know you have only 10 minutes to present, but strategize yourself. Plan to mention your points clearly with all the visual aids, step by step, so that people understand everything that you say. Don't rush in your presentation. All right? So there's some samples of slides and topics here. Okay, I want to show you the sample. But before that, let me ask you the first quiz question. All right. So can you start, if you can answer the question, right? And maybe there's present, right, madam?
Yeah, we have prizes to be won. Three winners. Okay, so are you ready, guys, for the quiz? The first question. The
Okay.
first questions. Haja, I guess you have to okay.
I have to put them in the chat
Chat
box.
Yeah, chat box. Okay,
have
so
in the
let's
chat
go to the first question. Hold on. First question, ready, everyone?
Okay, hold on. This is the first question.
Okay, there you go.
What did I say? Okay, what did I say that suggests the best strategy to be applied in the closing statement of your presentation?
So fast. Okay, we have a winner already.
Really? Already?
My goodness.
My God, who answered it? Who answered it?
Ben. Okay, Ben. The best way is by giving an information in a form of infographic, such as my map. Oh my God. Correct. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, we have the first winner already. Okay.
Second
Sorry
question.
for it. Second question. Okay. Second question. Get ready, everyone. Second question.
This should be easy.
Are you guys still there?
This should be easy.
Okay, for the question.
Or maybe later, the second question.
Yeah, later. Okay.
boleh lah. Right now lah. Maybe.
Right now, okay.
What do you think? Should we have it later or should I have it right now?
We can have it now, no problem,
Okay.
right?
Alright. So easy. 1, 2, 3, go.
What is 10, 20, 30 rule that is advocated by Kawasaki? Just now,
5,
Madam
4,
Rosita
3.
mentioned.
Yes, recently I mentioned it.
Yeah, 10, 20, 30. We have a winner already.
Yeah.
Ini alias slides less than 10 slides.
Wow.
Oh, that's good. Presentation which is longer than 20 minutes, and the 30 refers to the point size, to the font size, I guess. Right.
Wow. So
Ah,
cool.
Dini Alia. Okay.
Wow,
All
so
right.
fast. Wow, maybe
Okay,
we should
the
have
rest of you, what
we should
happened?
we
Already.
should have a more difficult question for them.
Okay.
So
All right,
smart.
we have winners. Okay,
Okay.
Ben and
So,
Dini.
so maybe we
Okay.
can have like examples. I just want to show you some good papers, yeah? Students that have written something on smart parking system. Okay, let's see what makes it a good presentation. This is done by one engineering student. Okay.
Oh, a sample. Okay.
Okay. So we go. This one, maybe this one is better. Okay, the name. So this is from one group. Okay, sorry. This is drones already. Okay, hold on. Okay, this one, right? Okay. So this is the introduction. Okay, so see, look at the background, guys. Okay, look at the background. Okay, look at the font they're using. Okay, this is, I mean, here we see it as small, but when the students present it, it's not small at all, right? It's quite big. And then look at the font there, and then the background. Look at the color of the font as well. Okay, the words. Okay, table of contents. Okay, you should have a table of content, right? Okay, what is a smart parking system? What is IoT, Internet of Things? How it works? Okay, what is smart parking system? Look at that. Look at the picture there. Look at the visual aids that they have. Look at this, the key. Right? Now, look at that. Definition. Simple words. Okay, short sentences. And look at that, supported with the pictures. Type of smart parking system. No paragraphs. Right? No paragraphs. Not many sentences, but they use visual aids. And you know what? During the presentation, they will start to explain what is multi-level, what is rotary, what is IoT. See, so the explanation is very, this is how you attract audience attention. Okay, they'll be like looking forward to hear your explanation. What do you mean by multi-level parking? What do you mean by rotary parking? Right? What do you mean by IoT, Internet of Things? So they look at the picture and they are listening to you. So it's interesting. So people will just like paying attention to you because whatever that you're presenting is interesting. The picture's there. Right, look at that. Explanation. What is multi-level? What is rotary? What is IoT, Internet of Things? Okay, then the pictures there. Every single point will have pictures as visual aids. How it works, just like this. How it works, big font, and just like that. Okay, you don't need to explain. Then you explain it later on how it works. Okay, examples. There you go. Again, no paragraphs, not much sentences. Right? It's only pictures there. And then they will start talking how it works by giving examples. Look at that. Again, there's a remote control there. Right? Actually, I think there's a video behind this. Oh, no.
Before we were using Monday.com, our team was drowning. Our days split between work and
Smart Parking Systems is an innovative on-street parking management technology able to govern and analyze all of the activities and the processes related to these specific parking types. In a first phase, sensors and cameras communicate the parking status in real time to the system, indicating the presence of any vehicle on the parking bay. Our app for Park uses this information to navigate users toward free parking spaces nearby any desired area. Moreover, for Park allows
Okay.
any payment type.
Right. I have to stop the presentation so that we don't. I mean, later maybe you can have a look. All right. But maybe we should continue with the. Okay, later we can watch that later. Okay. So then, okay, advantages of smart parking system, advantages, conclusion, right? And then thank you. Okay, is that an idea already, guys? Is that good to have an idea? What is it about? Is that okay? Okay, that's one example, and then there are more. Okay, but I'm running out of time. I think it's already 5:10. Okay, maybe if you want to know more about this, maybe you can ask me later or ask Madam Diana. Okay, I've given her the slides, so maybe you can ask Madam Diana if you want to have a look at other examples. Yeah,
Sure,
Madam.
sure.
If they are interested to see other examples, because I've given her Madam Diana the slides, guys, you can always ask her. Yeah. All right. So maybe you can continue, Diana.
Okay, yeah, a few more minutes before we actually have to make it short. It's already
Okay.
5:10, right?
That's
Okay.
right. Work out in advance how to set up, explain, okay, without interrupting the flow. Okay, set up, explain, and remove everything. So make sure the flow is not interrupted unnecessarily. Okay, and then finally, this is how I need to give you the methods of delivery, but for the presentation or even for the slides, practice, practice, practice. Okay, you need to rehearse. To me, you need to have the script as well, guys. Prepare your scripts for your presentation. Okay, because if you don't prepare your scripts, you'll be like stuck later on. You don't know what's next to say. So my advice is that make sure you have the scripts for your presentation. But remember, don't memorize. Okay, let's get the methods of presentation. The methods. One last information. One last slide. Yeah. Okay. This is the presentation software. You can use Canva. You can use Emaze. You can use Prezi. Have you come across this? I think Madam has shown you how to use Canva, right? Guys?
Yeah, they're very familiar with Canva.
So
Some of the time, they use Canva a lot in their practices. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I shouldn't dwell into it because they know what Canva is all about. Everyone knows what Canva is. But I just want to suggest that maybe there's Emaze as well. Besides Canva, there's Emaze and Prezi. So you can Google and you can use a lot of templates in Emaze and Prezi. So I thought that if they're not familiar with it, I want to go into go to the website to show them example of a Canva presentation. Maybe I show them one. Farah. Diana. This is what my student did. Hold on. Okay. Okay, for example, my students, they have to present on a movie. Okay, they use Canva. Okay, I think you are familiar with this as well. So, yeah, this is how your presentation will look like. Right? Then, it looks alive, I think. Right? So, okay. Let's continue with the presentation then, because you are very familiar with Canva, Emaze, and Prezi. So you can use that. So methods of delivery. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is the methods of delivery. Okay, so when you want to deliver, okay, there are 4 methods. Okay, this is the last information that I want to present. Manuscript, or you want to memorize it, or you can do an impromptu presentation, or extemporaneous, okay, extemporaneous delivery of speeches. So if you were to do the first, manuscript, so if you were to read your slides from A to Z, okay, to me, you are reading your manuscript. Okay, you are reading your manuscript. So that's not good. Definitely, Madam Diana will stop you. Right? So this can be one way, but when not good, when it is you are being evaluated. Okay, when it is an exam-oriented situation. Okay, so when you are reading from A to Z, you are saying that your method that you use is manuscript. Okay, so for your test, don't do this, right? For your exam later on, don't do this. And the second method is memorize. Should you use this? You are memorizing everything from A to Z, and suddenly during the presentation, I like to tease my students. Okay, whenever they start, I know when they are memorizing, so I would just stop them and ask them question. So when you stop the momentum, when you stop the presentation, the momentum is stopped. So at the end of the day, the students are like, oh, what's the next thing I want to say? Right? They will start to forget what's the next thing that they're going to say. So my advice is that don't memorize. Okay, don't memorize. Don't memorize every single word that you have in your script. What you should memorize is the point that you're going to talk about. All right, the point. See, and okay, let's say multi-level parking system. Okay, what are you going to talk about? Multi-level parking system. Then say it. All right, say it. But you plan and you know what you want to say. Right? You should know what you're going to say. You should remember, but don't memorize every single word that you have in your slides. Okay, you'll be in trouble, in big trouble, if you do memorize it, because it's going to be very difficult. Right? And the next thing is when it is impromptu, meaning that you are not prepared. All right, you are not prepared at all. Okay, from A to Z, you're not prepared. You just go there and then you say, okay, I'm going to talk about multi-level parking system. And you will be like jumping here and there. Your points are not organized. Your strategy is not there. Your visual aids are everywhere, you know. So you are not prepared. So that is when you suddenly, people are giving you a topic. This will be good when you are doing a public speaking. When people give you the topic right there and then, and they ask you to speak based on the topic that they gave you. So that is okay, but not for your presentation. You must be planned and you must have a strategy how to explain your points. And last but not least, the best method of delivery is extemporaneous. Okay, what is it? It's the most valuable and most useful type of delivery. Who have an idea? What is this? What does this mean? This is the best method of delivery. Who have come across this? What is extemporaneous means? According to Steve Jobs, this is the best.
Spontaneous.
Come again?
Is it a spontaneous method?
What is it, Muhammad?
Spontan.
Spontaneous will be impromptu. Spontan. That one will be impromptu, right? When you spontaneously. What is it? Plan. Spontan tak plan. See, that's what extemporaneous is not spontaneous. Okay? Extemporaneous is something that's planned. Your presentation is planned and you rehearse, you practice this many times you practice this. It's unscripted, right? It's not word for word. You don't say, that's why when Madam Diana asked you to present, she said, don't read your script. Don't read your script. Because when you read your script, you are reading every single word, right? So that's why it's wrong, because then it is not an extemporaneous presentation. It is maybe a memorized presentation, or maybe it's a manuscript presentation, right? So what the best presentation is when it is extemporaneous, it means what? You plan it, you have the strategy, you have the structure, okay? And then you rehearse before your presentation. Remember, Steve Jobs rehearsed every single presentation that he has. Meaning that he will remember. He will just, that's why after you have done, you have prepared your slides, go to your friend and start talking to your friend. Okay, rehearse it with your friend as if you are doing the real presentation. Okay, so only then you are well prepared, and it says that your presentation, your method of delivery will be close to perfect. Okay, got it? So remember, the best presentation delivery is an extemporaneous delivery where it is rehearsed, it is planned, right? And it has lots of strategies, wow factors, visual aids, and you can use notes, but you cannot read your notes, right? So the moment you read your notes, that will be the end of the presentation. Okay, last but not least, this is to recap. Okay, what is a good presentation skill? Okay, these are some things that, this is to recap everything that I've said, is that the first thing when you want to present, be yourself. Be yourself, guys. Relax. Relax. Know what you want to present. As I said, know your topic very well, what you want to present. And then be yourself. Shami, be yourself. Don't try to become Mushrif. All right? Irregardless whether your proficiency level is low or high, you don't have to become somebody else that you are not. Okay? Be yourself. And just relax. Okay? And practice some deep breathing techniques before you go for your presentation. Some deep breathing techniques is to also get rid of your stage fright. Okay, you're afraid on the stage, right? So do some breathing techniques. Sound enthusiastic. See, one thing for what is enthusiastic sounds eager, right? So one thing for sure, how can you ask people to be interested in what you are presenting, to be keen to know what you're presenting, when you yourself are not interested with what you are saying? You don't sound interesting at all. You don't sound that you're interested in whatever that you're presenting. How do you expect people to be interested to whatever that you're saying? Am I right? So the first thing that you must do is that you yourself must sound very interesting, enthusiastic. You must sound very conversational. You can converse it well to the audience. Number 2, use key phrases in your notes so you do not have anything to read them. Say to yourself, I'm talking about point number 3. What are the key phrases in point number 3? So pay attention to that key phrases, and the moment you remember that key phrases, you will know what to say after that. So pay attention to some phrases that can help you to remember what's next to say. Okay, don't read your slides. Voice projection, guys. That is very, 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 very important. You must be loud. You must be clear. Your voice must be like up and down. You must not be sounded very dull. Okay, it must not be very dull. Sometimes you look nice. Everything, the package is there. But the voice is so slow. And the voice sounds very dull. It's like a voice when you're about to go to sleep. Your presentation is out, right? Clear. You must be very clear. And voice projection must be very good. Don't be afraid of some silence. Don't stop. Try to reduce some fillers. For example, like, I think, all right, okay, these are fillers, right? These are fillers. They are not good. This shows your incompetence and you're not confident. All right, so stop using fillers. Body language, use your body language effectively. Eye contact, facial expression, hand movements. All right, if you need to move, but never block the screen. You can move that, but don't block the projector, right? Don't show your back, right? Don't show your back to the audience. Concentrate on the message, eyes on the camera, eyes on the audience, and finally, practice, practice, practice. That is the last key to a good presentation. Okay, before we do this, any question? Okay, before we do this, any questions? Before I give you my last question, that's the end. I've come to an end. That's what I want to advise you for a dynamic presentation. Any questions? I welcome questions, guys. So far, only one question, yeah, Diana?
Yeah. Any questions? Ladies and gentlemen, any questions before we end our
Yeah.
webinar? If you have questions, you can unmute your microphone or perhaps you can just type in the chat box. Any questions? If there's no questions, I guess we can proceed to the conclusion of our.
To the conclusion and to my last question, Diana.
Okay, last question. Yeah, we have another question. Last one.
Last question. Since they don't
Okay.
have any question, let's ask them questions. It's in the chat box, yeah?
Okay. Okay,
What
guys.
What are the 3 presentation software that were mentioned in the presentation?
3. I want 3, not 1.
3. Yeah, we want 3. One person mentioned 3. Hurry up.
3
5,
presentation.
4, 3.
Yeah. 3.
2.
Bad. Only 1.
1.
Okay.
Yes. Good.
Oh my God.
Man.
We have a winner already. Canva, Emaze, and Prezi. Okay,
Yes.
good.
Well done, well done.
All right.
Amar.
Amar, you're late. Okay, never mind.
All right, I would
We'll
like
make up.
to invite you guys for the last QR code here. Can you scan it? And then I want you to mention one word to describe about this webinar. All right? Bagi chance to. Ben kata dah bagi chance to. Yeah, to others. But others don't want to answer you, right? Okay, can you guys scan the QR code here? And then mention to me one last word to describe about the webinar. What do you think about the webinar?
Okay, one word to describe the webinar. Everyone, last one.
Yeah, one last one. What do you think? So that it keeps coming up, right? So that we can share that. What do you think about it? Thank you. It's coming up. It's coming up. Informative. Thank you. Amazing. Wow. Okay. Let's bring it up, guys. There are 42 of you here. So far, we have 4. What one word that you can describe about the webinar? Good. Alhamdulillah, you can understand it. Yeah. Meaningful. Informative. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, keep having it so that we can have it as a record here. Amazing, informative, best, fun, knowledge, excellent, understandable. Come on, guys. More. There are 42 of you here in the class so that we can have a...
Can we have more? Ladies and gentlemen.
You can turn on your camera now. It's okay. We are coming to the end already. Fact finding, good. Lagi expert. Amazing. Thank you lagi. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to offer help here. That's the thing. So that you guys do well. Excellent. Flying colors in your presentation. Yeah. Any more?
Yeah. Any more?
This is like giving feedbacks to the to us about the webinar. Yeah. This is useful for, especially you guys are part 1 students. So it'll be very useful for us. Come on, guys. There are 42 here. I should have like 42 response here.
Yeah. If you have similar responses, okay, you can just type in.
So that we can have the web there actually. It's like a cloud. It should be like a good cloud.
Yeah, I believe it's informative. It's fact finding, right?
When is the test? When is the presentation?
Next week.
Oh, next week.
Yeah, next week.
Next week. Next Monday, Tuesday, or?
I guess Monday is a holiday. It's announced already.
What is today? Today is
Thursday.
Oh, Monday is a holiday. Friday is not. Not tomorrow.
No, not tomorrow. They just announced. So Monday is a holiday.
Oh, really? So I don't have classes as well on Monday.
So the presentation will be on Tuesday onwards. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So I wouldn't have the test for my students as well on Monday. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So if there's no more questions, you can keep coming in. You can have it more, yeah? You can keep coming up there. All right. And if there's nothing else, I would say yeah. All the best to everyone. All right. All the best to everyone. And I would like to say sorry for everything that's not proper, okay, not being said clearly. But I wish you guys good luck, and then maybe hopefully you get a flying colors in your test. And sorry if I've taken so long for the presentation. Okay, thank you so much, Madam Diana, for the moderation and for the effort that we have here. And then good luck to all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So with the conclusion of our speaker just now, we have reached the end of the collaborative teaching webinar, creating a dynamic presentation. So if I may wrap up today's webinar with the biggest takeaway of today. So one of the things that we have that you have to take into consideration is that it is important. Remember, it is important to have a proper organization, a proper preparation before the presentation, lots of practices. Okay, you need to plan. You need to plan and have some strategies in engaging with the audience. For example, by having supporting materials, okay, giving fun facts, asking questions, statistics, research or trivia questions, okay, just to keep engaging with with your audience, to make your audience understand. And then another thing is, I guess, having information in a form of infographic. That's the most important thing actually. Okay, you can you instead of using point form, okay, like the common ones, point form, you can use infographic in explaining on your points. Okay, and then yeah, not to mention the 10-20 rules. Okay, 10-20 rules, and then the methods of delivery just now. Okay, to be able to deliver effectively and engaging with the audience. Okay, all right. So on behalf of Polytechnic Ungku Omar, we are truly humbled by your kind support and participation in making this webinar a true success. Thank you all for making time in your busy schedules to join us in this webinar. Thank you again to our wonderful speaker and her insightful sharing. Thank you to Miss Farah as well for joining us today from PO all the way to UITM PERAK. We wish you all a pleasant day tomorrow. Okay, we have a holiday on Monday. They just announced, all right, and we hope to have more collaboration with UITM in the future. Okay, thank you very much. That's all. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Bye guys. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much.
Madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
See you guys in PO.
Thank you, madam.
Thank
Okay.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Madam Diana.
Thank you, Haja. I'll see you again.
Inshallah, inshallah.
And
You have to come to UiTM. You have to come to UiTM.
Inshallah. Okay, Haja, thank you
Okay,
very
bye-bye.
much.
Alright, thank you,
Good night.
bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Puan Diana.
thank you.
Yeah, Farah is
Alright,
here.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, everything went well.
Yeah.
Amin.
Amin.
Thank you, Miss Rosida and Miss Jane. It was a wonderful webinar. Okay, Rinesh. Thank you, Rinesh.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Rinesh.
Thank you, Rinesh.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Okay, bye.
bye.